You know what the moon looks like. You've seen it hanging above rooftops, pale and steady, following you as you walk home at night. It feels close, familiar, almost like it belongs to us. A silent companion that has always been there, watching oceans rise and fall, marking time in a way nothing else does. Now imagine standing on Earth, looking up, and seeing something different. Not one moon, two worlds locked together, not orbiting quietly like ours does, not distant, not obedient, but circling each other like dancers, both pulling, both resisting, both refusing to let go. This is not science fiction. This is real. Far beyond the outer planets, past the reach of the warm sunlight that touches your skin, there is a small, frozen world called Pluto. For a long time, we thought we understood it. A lonely dwarf planet drifting in the dark, too small to matter, too far away to care about. But then we looked closer, and something felt wrong. Pluto has a moon called Charon. At first, that sounds ordinary. Planets have moons. That's how things work. Earth has one. Mars has two. Jupiter has dozens. But Charon doesn't behave like a moon. It's too big, too close, too equal. In fact, if you were standing on Pluto, you wouldn't see Charon rise and set like our moon does. It wouldn't move across the sky at all. It would hang there, fixed in place, never drifting, never leaving, always watching, forever. And that's when the discomfort begins. Because this isn't just a planet with a moon. This is something else. Something balanced on the edge of what we thought was possible. Pluto and Charon orbit each other in a way that breaks the pattern we see everywhere else. Instead of one object dominating and the other obeying, they share control. They spin around a point in space that isn't inside Pluto, but outside it. Think about that. The center of their motion, the invisible point they both circle, floats in empty space between them. It's as if Earth and the moon were dancing, but instead of Earth leading, both of them stepped around a point in midair, equally bound. We don't see that here. We don't feel that here. And suddenly, something that sounded small and distant begins to feel strange, uncomfortable. Because if the rules can bend out there, so far away, what else have we misunderstood? What else is waiting in the dark, doing things we never expected? And more importantly, why does this system look less like a planet and its moon, and more like two worlds trapped together? Let's start somewhere safe. You are standing on Earth. Beneath your feet is a planet about 12,700 kilometers wide. It feels massive, endless. If you tried to walk in a straight line, it would take you months just to cross a continent. And above you, about 384,000 kilometers away, is the moon. That sounds far. And it is. If you got into a car and drove non-stop at highway speed, it would take you around 6 months to reach it. 6 months, and that's just our nearest neighbor. But even at that distance, Earth dominates the relationship. Our planet is about 80 times more massive than the moon. Gravity pulls the strings. Earth leads. The moon follows. It's a simple hierarchy. Now leave Earth behind. Travel past Mars, where dust storms can swallow the planet. Past Jupiter, so large that more than 1,300 Earths could fit inside it. Past Saturn, wrapped in rings of ice that stretch hundreds of thousands of kilometers across. Keep going. The sunlight grows weaker. Shadows stretch longer. The warmth you know fades into something thin and distant. Eventually, you reach Pluto. It's small, much smaller than Earth, only about 2,377 kilometers wide, less than 1/5 the size of our planet. You could fit the United States across it and still have room left over. It doesn't sound impressive, But then you notice Charon. Charon is about 1,212 kilometers wide. That's more than half the size of Pluto itself. Half. Imagine if the moon were half the size of Earth. The sky would be dominated by it. It would feel overwhelming, unavoidable. Its gravity would reshape tides, maybe even the planet itself. That's the situation on Pluto. This is your first shock, because suddenly, this isn't a large planet with a tiny companion. It's two objects that are almost equals, and that changes everything. When one object is much larger, like Earth and the Moon, the smaller one orbits around the larger. The center of their motion stays inside the bigger body. But here, with Pluto and Charon, the balance shifts. Their shared center of gravity, called the barycenter, lies outside Pluto entirely. Not inside, outside, floating in space between them. This means both Pluto and Charon are orbiting something that isn't even a physical object. They are chasing an invisible point. Together. Locked in motion. And here's where it gets stranger. Pluto and Charon are tidally locked to each other. You may have heard that our moon is tidally locked to Earth. It always shows us the same face. That's why you never see the far side without spacecraft. But Earth is not locked to the moon. We spin freely. The moon watches different parts of us over time. Not here. On Pluto, if you stand on the side facing Charon, it will never move in your sky. Not a little, not slowly, not ever. It will just hang there, a fixed world. And if you stand on the opposite side of Pluto, you will never see Charon at all. Not once in your entire life. Half the planet lives with a permanent companion in the sky. The other half lives without it entirely. That's your second shock, because now this isn't just about size, it's about perspective, about what it would feel like to live there. Imagine growing up under a sky where another world never moves, where it never rises or sets, where it becomes part of the horizon, as constant as mountains. It would stop feeling like a moon. It would feel like something else, a neighbor, a presence. And the closeness makes it even more unsettling. The distance between Pluto and Charon is only about 19,600 kilometers. That's 20 times closer than the moon is to Earth. At that range, Charon would appear enormous in the sky of Pluto, several times larger than our moon appears to us. You wouldn't need a telescope. You could see details, craters, shadows, frozen plains. It would feel within reach, but you could never touch it, because both worlds are locked in a perfect gravitational stalemate. Now pause for a moment. Think about the solar system as a whole. Most systems are simple. A dominant planet, smaller moons, clear roles, clear structure. But Pluto and Charon break that pattern. They exist in a gray area, too equal to be a normal planet-moon system, too unequal to be a perfect binary pair like some stars. They sit in between, and that's what makes them feel off. But the discomfort doesn't stop there, because Pluto and Charon are not alone. They are surrounded by smaller moons, Styx, Nix, Kerberos, and Hydra, all orbiting this strange central dance. Imagine watching this from space, two nearly equal worlds spinning around nothing, while smaller bodies trace complex paths around them. It wouldn't look stable, it wouldn't look simple, but it is. Perfectly stable, for billions of years. And that leads to a deeper question. If something this unusual can exist, quietly, at the edge of our solar system, how many other systems out there are even stranger? How many rules have we assumed are universal, that are actually just local habits? And if the structure of something as basic as planet and moon can shift like this, then what does that say about everything we think we understand? Step back now. Further. Leave Pluto behind. Leave Charon. Leave the scattered ice and rock of the outer solar system. Pull away until the sun itself shrinks into a bright star, one among billions. From this distance, Pluto and Charon disappear completely. Their strange dance, their shared gravity, their locked faces, all of it becomes invisible. And yet, it is still happening. Quietly. Unnoticed. That's the unsettling part. The universe does not organize itself for our comfort. It does not follow simple rules just because we prefer them. What we call normal is often just what we are used to seeing, nothing more. Pluto and Charon remind us of that. They sit at the edge of our solar system, not just in distance, but in understanding. A system that doesn't quite fit, a relationship that challenges the categories we created: planet, moon, primary, secondary. Out there, those words begin to lose meaning, because reality is not obligated to match our labels. And yet, there is something strangely human about them. Two worlds, bound together, neither fully in control, neither able to escape, turning endlessly around a point that isn't even real, just the result of their shared existence. It feels less like mechanics and more like a balance, a quiet agreement written in gravity. And maybe that's why it stays with you. Because when you strip away the distance, the ice, the darkness, what remains is a pattern. Things influencing each other. Things held together by forces they cannot see. Not so different from us. We like to think of Earth as stable, solid, central. But even here, everything is in motion. We orbit the sun. The sun orbits the center of the galaxy. The galaxy moves through space. Nothing is still. Nothing is truly fixed. Even the ground beneath your feet is part of a larger dance you cannot feel. And somewhere, far beyond what your eyes will ever see, Pluto and Charon continue theirs. Unchanged, unbothered, perfectly balanced in a way that feels almost impossible. Not because it is rare, but because it reminds us how limited our expectations are. We build models, we draw diagrams, we define systems, and then the universe quietly produces something that doesn't fit, not to challenge us, not to teach us, but simply because it can. And that is the final weight of it. Not that Pluto and Charon are strange, but that they are not alone in their strangeness. They are just one example, one small hint of a universe that is far more flexible, more complex, and more indifferent than we ever imagined. You are standing on a world that feels stable, looking up at a sky that feels familiar. But somewhere out there, two distant objects are circling an invisible point in space, locked together in perfect silence. And the only reason it feels wrong is because you are not used to it.